There are new developments in Hillary Clinton's email investigation. During a 5-hour deposition last week, former top aide Cheryl Mills testified that Clinton's personal emails to people outside the State Department were not available for requests under the Freedom of Information Act. According to transcripts, the attorney asked, quote, "Did it ever occur to you when, from 2009 to 2013, before you left, that communications between the secretary and, let's say, you, to your personal email account that related to state business, that those actually weren't available to the government or to the State Department to respond to Freedom of Information Act requests?" Mills responded, quote, "I wish it had, but no is the answer." Mills' deposition came in a Freedom of Information Act lawsuits brought by the conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch. With me now is attorney from that group, Michael Pekesha. Michael, thanks very much for the time. So what is your takeaway from this deposition? Does it imply that Hillary Clinton leaked federal record law keeping, or broke, rather, federal record keeping law?
You know, we still don't know. I mean, that's the big question right now is who knew what, when, where, and why. And right now we know that Ms. Mills says she never thought about these issues at all. You know, we don't believe that testimony. We believe that Ms. Mills, Mrs. Clinton knew very well what they were doing when they were doing it. And so, you know, this is just one of the pieces of the puzzle we're putting together. Our investigation continues, and we have 6 more witnesses that we're going to depose over the next month. You know, Ms. Mills' attorney didn't want her answering questions, and when she did answer questions, Ms. Mills kept saying she didn't remember, she didn't recollect what was going on, and then, well, she wished she thought about it. So she didn't really provide any answers. More questions were raised. More questions were raised.
Okay, you were in the room. I know that. And according to this deposition, Hillary Clinton used her non-secure BlackBerry to send and receive emails on her personal account. And here's how that questioning went. You know this because you were there, but for everybody else, the attorney asked, was Secretary Clinton ever issued a BlackBerry from the State Department so she could email? And then Mills responded, not to my knowledge. The attorney asked, okay, were you? And Mills said, yes. So Mills had a State Department BlackBerry, but Hillary Clinton didn't?
That's correct. Everybody else in the State Department, in the office of the Secretary, had a BlackBerry except for Mrs. Clinton. And what we learned from a high-level State Department employee that we deposed the week before, we learned that the reason Mrs. Clinton didn't have a BlackBerry was because she didn't ask for one. Although no other State Department employee had to ask for a BlackBerry, for some reason, the rules were different for her.
Okay. Also learned, and I heard your point, Michael, that Hillary Clinton had an office set up across the hall from her own office where she used her non-secure BlackBerry outside of a secure zone. So what does that information say?
You know, what that says is that Mrs. Clinton went out of her way to conduct official government business on her personal BlackBerry. The State Department was willing to set up a computer on her desk so that she could access her email while she was in her office. She decided, for whatever reason, we were told it was because she didn't know how to use computer systems, that she wanted to use her BlackBerry. So she had to get up off her chair, out from her desk, and go to another office to send and receive email. And, you know, we also had other testimony saying that she would pace in the hallways, walk in the hallways outside of her office so that she could use her BlackBerry.
Michael, thank you very much. Glad you were in the room. Glad you joined us to tell us about it. Michael,
thank you for having me.
Judicial Watch attorney.